Hi there, everyone. My name is Helenique Argeru for Women of Truth, conferences, special events, and all kinds of support for personal and professional growth for awakening women. We have some very beautiful women that have been speaking to us about their own personal truth and their inner wisdom, how they came to connect deeply with themselves so that they could also become a beacon of light to you and to many other women around the world. And we have today a really beautiful lady called Ana Gongalves, I think is her surname. She will pronounce it very soon. And she is a really interesting, supportive mindset coach for women. And she tends to attract a lot of entrepreneurs. This is why we're speaking today, because we want to support you if you are working in your own individual business and you're a solo entrepreneur, or even if you are branching out, building a team. If you're running some kind of business, it's always really important to be able to connect much more deeply into yourself and to know what you truly need and what's truly right for you. And this is really what Ana does. She's a master energy, spiritual, and seer business mindset coach. And she's really here to support women to unearth many layers that actually obstruct them from being who they really are and showing up as they really are. We all know we get pushed and pulled in so many different directions as women, and we play so many roles, and we need to be really much more careful about how we tune in. So I want to welcome you, Ana, to this call. Thank you so much for coming on. I remember the real reason I connected with you was because you were able to talk about this spiritual side in a really touching way. And so welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm really happy to be here. And I'm really looking forward to what unveils today and what women really need to hear as well.
Wonderful. And just pronounce your surname just out of curiosity.
Gonsalves.
Gonzalez. Okay, Gonsalves. Okay, wonderful. So it wasn't too far off. Very nice to have you here. And I want to just remind everybody that we all have difficulties, challenges in life, and I'm pretty sure that by now, watching some of these interviews, women have started to understand that that's our treasure and that we turn that into our wisdom often. And we want to know a little bit more about yours. What was for you a really life-challenging experience where you had a breakthrough, and what did it teach you? One of them that you'd be willing to share.
It's a great question, because I have so many, and there's been quite a lot of tough, very challenging experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I think I keep thinking back to when I was a teenager and really very depressed to a point of suicidal and cutting myself.
Okay.
And when I was doing that, I started looking at my wrist, and I'm like, Ana, what are you doing? I was looking at my wrist and I saw life, you are life itself. Why do this when you can, provide and support others using your gifts? Because then I always knew about my intuitive abilities, and I always used them on myself, and even since a little girl. But I didn't know how good it was, because people around me disrespected me, or they put me down. So I shut down, and my resort was to kill myself because I felt unloved. But then I realized, no, I'm here for something greater. There's a greater purpose. And these gifts I have, they're to help other people. And so from then, I started opening up to other people and really serving from a place of unconditional love, no matter what happened to me. And also throughout my entire life, I also had PSTD, post-traumatic stress disorder, that I did not know about. And that was from an incident when I was a little girl. And I had all that, and still I was moving forward really with a purpose and a calling that, yes, these gifts I'm meant to serve. I really want to help people from a grounding and loving way. And, there's no need, I don't need to focus on myself. I mean, like from the egocentric, I'm having a hard time, but I want to give. And it's interesting because it's only been in the last maybe 4 or 5 years that I've been giving to myself, whereas in the past I would be giving a lot to people to the point of giving all my energy and time and not taking care of myself.
Right.
So the biggest lesson and learning has been to find a balance to give to myself from a full cup and then give to other people, at the same time knowing the value of the gifts that I provide and knowing that it will make a difference for me and then the other person. But to recognize that I am live and all these challenges make me a better person and then make me connect back to who I truly am inside. And no matter what happens, no matter what challenges, no matter how much people bring me down, I will always be the being that I am inside.
Sorry about that. Hang on 1 second here. So I'm really moved by what you say, Anna, because I think this is such an important trap to free ourselves from as women. And I relate so much to that, around giving so much to others and having to really fall down, struggle, suffer in order to have to learn how much we self-abandon and forget ourselves, neglect ourselves, and then sort of be forced through that experience to have to learn how to give back to ourselves before giving. And it's obviously really hard. Also, mothers reject the whole idea that it's even possible. I think often I hear a lot of women that I work with give 101 reasons why everyone else has to come before them. And I think that's true in some way. That's the true gift and power of the feminine, but also the challenge is to balance that in us. And I hear you saying that so clearly, that you've started learning how to pour out only when your cup is empty. Sorry, to pour out, and there you go, Freudian slip, to pour out only when your cup is full, and not to pour out when your cup is empty. And to even know the difference is, for some of us, a really important turn in our self-development. I think it's a really important point. Is anything else you can say about that?
One thing that comes to mind as well is really a helpful tip, because we do it so often we don't even realize, but to get aware that you're doing it in the first place and to not beat yourself up or judge, because judgment is the biggest trap. Yeah, anytime you judge yourself, you're killing yourself instantly. So be aware that you're doing that, but don't beat yourself up. And it's just like, you're having the awareness that it's happening, and then when you do, you're actually loving yourself.
Right.
Because it wakes you up to the truth, and then you see that, this is what I'm doing. I can choose a different way. I can choose to go have that bath. I can choose to do that. And you can tell people around you as well that you do need that time, but it's very often difficult to tell people, especially those that you're always giving to. But as women, I feel that we are natural receptors in the feminine, and but we have this motherly role to everyone that we always need to give. Yeah. How much can you give to yourself right now? What do you need to give to yourself right now? That is the question. It's not about the other person. It's really about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you were 8 and you were at this younger age, even before what you shared with us was a great challenge, you alluded to PTSD and different difficult experiences. I'm just wondering, as an 8-year-old compared to the woman you are now, what kind of advice would the woman you are now give to this 8-year-old girl?
Great question. Know that you are loved. I think that is the most important, because she did not feel loved whatsoever, and that's what resulted in all those experiences.
Right.
Yeah, she didn't feel loved from her family. That was her truth, but know that you are loved. And she did connect to, like her angels a lot, and the earth and the animals, and she felt a lot of love from those, but just to know that she's loved, because yeah, that's the most important thing.
Beautiful. So we can all just receive this in and absorb it into our little inner child, our little 8-year-olds, and just know that at moments when we really couldn't connect or absorb or feel this love and connection from others, that there's the wise woman in us now that can look back and know that there is a love greater than what humans can provide, and that we are loved. So very beautiful that you take us into that. Thank you.
Can I just share something to add to that? The reason that I gave so much was because I felt unloved, and that I feel like I needed to give to receive love. But in actual fact, I was giving and giving until burnout, and I wasn't receiving. It's only when I started giving to myself, that's when I received love.
Yeah, fantastic. You might become the ambassadress of this very deep teaching that I think women have on their path of transformation. So if we were to have anybody that embodies that really well, I think it would be you. You know, you could speak to that really important transition that we have to make as women out of the space of giving into the space of healthy giving. So there's so many ways that we get trained and groomed and convinced, I even think sometimes, as women in the world to do certain things. And I've started calling these lies. And I wondered what you think the biggest lie is that women believe, and what is the truth?
That's a great question, and I agree with you, because there are so many lies in the world, and I also believe there's so many lies that we're constantly telling ourselves, and we react and behave in a certain way because we think that's who we need to be, but in actual fact we're someone completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, what was your question? I'm so in the moment.
Yeah, I'm just reading your bio here again, and it's very much tuned in to your bio, totally, isn't it? The question is, what is the biggest lie that women believe, and what is the greater truth? And even in your connection as a master energy spiritual coach, you've really supported me to understand the importance of the soul. And I mean, I know it for myself, but how you see that playing out so well in business development, that women, once they connect with their soul on a higher level, in a deeper way, they really get clear. So you say in your bio also that when that's not happening, there is a way that the woman prevents herself from speaking up. She's not making the right choices. She doesn't have good relationships. She might have a career that she loves, but it doesn't light her up inside in the best way possible, and she can love her career even more than that. So this very unique way of seeing that you have already tells us that you work on that level. So if we were to articulate it, what do you think is the biggest lie that women believe, and the truth?
The biggest lie that I've worked with clients on, and that seems to be the theme, is that they are separate. And another thing is that they need to take other people's baggage on a lot of the time. They need to take responsibility for other people.
Right.
All the time. And then that's why they feel separate, because they're not putting themselves first. And then, they disconnect and then do what everyone else is doing, instead of connecting to their own truth, instead of connecting to their own answers. Because the truth is, everyone has their own answers inside of themselves. But we're often, too blinded. We often think that we need to go and be like someone else to get this result, when in actual fact we don't. If we follow our own unique path from our soul, which we all have, then we create success and fulfillment on our own terms. But the key here is to actually connect to our souls and to get the answers, because we're often flying around and lost and not knowing how to do that. So it's actually very sad, because there are a lot of women who keep following other people and taking on the responsibility of other people, but inside they just really want to connect to themselves, but they don't know how. And also they do know that they have the answer, and they do know that they're here to do something greater, but they're just frustrated, really frustrated, and they've had enough of it. Because, you know, the challenges that they're having, it goes on and on like a broken cassette player, and it's no longer working. But it's like they keep often asking how and or why, and then that's when the victim story plays out. They get stuck in the victim. But yeah, it's good. So what I help do is I go straight to the soul. So when the woman connects to her soul, all those experiences that she has, it's like she finally understands why she had those experiences to bring her to who she is. And all the experiences are actually related to power, to being in your true power as a woman, to taking back your power and to living out from your soul. And yeah, being you, who you truly are, because you do have your own unique way of doing things, your own unique way of creating. And I really just want a lot more women to know that they can do that. And I also want to get the resources out to as many women as possible, so that they can realize, yes, you know, this is possible, I can do it. And I don't have to follow that the next woman to try and be someone that I'm not to get a certain type of result. I can do it my way. And it's amazing because when you see women following their own path from their soul, they're on fire. You know, nothing can stop them. They know exactly what to do. And they're also, it's very strengthening and nurturing for them. And it helps them move through the challenges a lot easier because they now understand what those challenges are for them.
Beautiful. So powerful and so to the point. So many different ways up the mountain. But one of the most important ones, I think, is to be able to tune in, like you say, really deeply to your soul, to your inner guidance, to really knowing what your deepest self wants and feels. And I think today we're learning how, certainly in your work, but also for you as a person, and reminding ourselves that that is such a powerful guiding force. And if we miss connecting with it, then our lives look pretty confused and not really genuine and not deeply satisfying as they can be. So we can all look at how to do this more regularly. There's such a plethora of information and teachings and trainings and books. I can't name enough at the moment in the world for women and their discovery and their success. And I wondered what you think about that, the whole sort of women's movement, how it's awakening women in politics, in decision making, and in business. And when I first started these interviews, I was just putting that question out like that. After having spoken to over 50 women now with that same question, I feel myself wanting to add in the tension, the contrasting point, the polarity of the fact that we are still talking about women's empowerment when in fact we have had so many different strains and a movement that's gone on for half a century really on this point. So now we speak about the tension in that, you know, there's all this women's work and yet women are still struggling. Glass ceilings still exist and probably will continue to exist for a time still, and there still is great violence on women and children's bodies, which will again continue to exist. What do you think about all that? What do you tune into when you go to that very deeply interconnected place about all of this? What's your take on it?
What I feel is that, of course, there's a great change happening in terms of women's empowerment. And yes, it's very tense and challenging, but at the same time, there's an opportunity. There's a great opportunity that women are being seen more in public. Women are being counted truly for who they are, rather than, you know, like a woman as a gender. And it's like the rising of the feminine is coming up so strong, so the challenges that are occurring and the tension is normal. It's normal because, of course, we as women have been suppressed for a very long time. And yeah, I feel everything that is happening is for the greater good of the planet, of the consciousness. But of course, things are still happening to women, and I still feel that things are also happening to men in a larger way as well, and that we need to come together more than ever now, regardless of our gender, but really as human beings, and work together, figure out to work together as a collective so that we can bring the world in a better place, so we can bring our gifts, because the feminine is very misunderstood as well by the society at large. So if we have more education on the feminine and more understanding of women, how they are, then they can be seen for who they truly are, rather than as a gender, because I still feel there's a lack of education, lack of understanding of women. That's why the tension is so strong.
Right.
Yeah. And if more people understood women in all scopes, then they can better connect, because there's also a lot of people that are threatened by women when they come into power. They don't know how to handle women. So for someone that doesn't know how to handle a woman, you know, education and learning would be a great opportunity, rather than pushing it under the rug.
Right. So there's so much that we've spoken about regarding this connection that women can make to their deeper self, their higher self, their soul, whatever we choose to name that. And I wondered if you can tell us now, what are you most passionate about? What are you working with in your life?
What I'm most passionate about is to express my soul and live out my soul's purpose here. What I'm really passionate about in helping women is to support them to know that they have the answers inside. So like a guide, to bring out those answers and bring out their gifts, so they recognize their value to themselves firstly, and then their value to their community and their value to the world, because then they can start making that inner shift and that transformation once they truly embody it on a whole level, truly experience who they are. And also, one thing, no longer be afraid, because there's a lot of fear that if you stand up, well, for me, I felt a lot of fear. If I stand up in my own power, be who I truly be, express my soul, that, you know, it's really hard and I have to suffer. No, we don't need to suffer as women. It's harder said than done, but I think the advice here is to keep coming back to you and what you believe in, because there you will find your gold. What you truly believe in, it will connect you to your soul. It will connect you to your wisdom and everything that you need to share into the world. And what people really want to hear of you is that wisdom.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Anna. As we close today, we're going to ask you to give us 3 words that are for you, a prayer going out to all the women who watch, all the women who could never watch a video like this. What are these 3 words that to you make the biggest impact or have the greatest meaning? Can you tell us them and then tell us why you chose them? They can be separate.
The first one is love.
Mm-hmm.
Love, yeah. Second one is believe, and the third one is trust. Now, why have I chosen these words? Because, well, firstly, if you don't love yourself, how can you believe in yourself? And then how can you trust yourself to move you forward? So, you know, as women especially, we truly need to recognize that we need to love ourselves first and foremost. That is the key and the solution to everything, loving ourselves. And then when we love ourselves, we truly believe in ourselves. Because if you go backwards, well, yeah, it doesn't really work. Once you love yourself, you truly believe in who you are and what you have to offer and the gifts that you have, you know, the value that you bring to the world. And then you trust no matter what happens, everything is being here. Everything is bringing you to a better place. There is a lesson, there is a purpose in the challenge. And as you continue to move through your life, you trust that no matter what happens, you will always be supported. And you trust yourself that you can be that woman that you truly are. You don't need to be someone else. You trust who you are. And all those three, I feel, make up us women when we truly get into our power, when we truly connect to our soul. But if you have those three already, you're automatically plugged into your soul.
Great. So those are the three things that we can really tune into, connect into, and help ourselves become connected to our soul, is when we learn to truly love, to trust what's happening and the higher purpose in all of that, and to
Believe.
The second one was believe. To really believe. So trust, believe, and love, believe, and trust. And it's Ana Gonzalez, and a very beautiful, smooth and flowing conversation with you today that's really helped us highlight how important it is to look inside, that everything is there already. It's just a matter of illuminating it, bringing it out. And I think your story about being young and really realizing in that moment that you were here to bring these gifts to others was such a powerful image for us to have in our minds now of how important our lives can really be to others. So thank you so much for your time, and for also making us even more clear that to do that, we need to take care of ourselves first and really fill our own cups and learn the art of giving to the self as much as to others. Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for watching. I very much enjoy connecting with you and this conversation. It's been really amazing.
Beautiful. So we'll put all your details up if anybody would like to do a session or wants to connect with their soul more deeply. It will be there for them to enjoy. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.